Hello and welcome to another episode of SWBC's Business Interview. For those of you who wish to follow and find out more about it, if you're watching on YouTube, then please hit the subscribe button and you'll be notified, and the little bell, and you'll be notified of future episodes. Starting business isn't easy. Some people face bigger barriers than others. And the person we're interviewing today, Trevor Palmer, has a few more barriers than most. His story is very interesting. He's a serial entrepreneur. He's been involved in many businesses, and some quite surprising. But as you will see, he has more difficulties than most. I'd like to welcome you, Trevor, to our meeting. I hope it's a conversation, this is. So I want to know your story. I want to find out about how things work for you.
Yeah, thanks for that intro, Nigel.
So let's take you back right to the beginning. Why did you get involved as an entrepreneur and a business person?
Okay, before I do that, you mentioned that word barriers. I've never had any barriers. Biggest barriers I have are bank managers who don't understand or don't have the foresight to realise what's going on.
Interesting.
And some local authorities granting permissions to trade in certain areas. But that's a personal issue maybe, I don't know. But anyway. What started me off, well, when I was young, I had an older brother, and we both were into, this was in the late 1960s, we were both into music and the change, and our generation was coming up, and I was only in my early teens, and the idea, the very thought of independence, freedom, and getting out there and doing, wow. You know, you couldn't do it on sixpence a week worth of pocket money. So what we used to do, we picked a couple of plastic buckets up, one I picked up out of an old bomb site, and another one from my mum's kitchen under the table.
Where were you living at the time?
I was living in on the borders of Epsom and Ewell in Surrey. And we used to go out with a bucket, sponge, a thing of shampoo, and we used to go knocking doors to clean cars. And we used to leave maybe 7:30 on a Saturday morning, do it all day Saturday, as much time as we could on Sunday before the Sunday lunch was served. And there was something which was really confusing. At the time, I used to watch television, and you can't help, you're stuck in front of a TV or whatever, or the radio, and the average weekly income as the Hilweys news broadcast was about £12 a week at those times. And we could go out on Saturday and Sunday and earn 15 quid each. And I was thinking, I'm about 13, 14 years old, what's going on, and reality is different because I was in probably an affluent Surrey landscape. I wasn't somewhere where people don't own cars or whatever. If there was, I'd probably be shoveling up horses and to earn some money doing it that way. But anyway, that made me go out and do things. And I've always, when I was at school, I was a school bookie. Because down in Epsom there's a racing community and everybody sort of like
So your entrepreneurial activity in school was as a bookie and taking bets from all the other kids.
I'm amazed why it's not why Epsom's an affluent area, because everybody there gambles like mad. Maybe they know things which the average punter doesn't, I don't know. But I used to run the book at school, and I've always done my own thing. Independence is prime to me. Then I went off in life, and I ended up in a fantastic situation. I ended up in Switzerland, studying at the École Supérieure du Commerce.
Excellent.
And I learnt a lot. I learned to speak French, and I was at the age 17 where life happens, and it's a great place, great situation. I came back, and my family had started doing very well. Their business had started growing, and my father and my uncle were partners and had a luggage factory. They used to make luggage. They took it over from my grandfather. When they came out after the war, they had their suits and their 100 quid each,
Yeah.
whatever everybody got.
Demob.
They bought out my grandfather, and they worked, they grafted. My father was a bit like me, a bit sort of like talkative and salesmanish. My uncle was a bit more of a, you know, he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
And they built up this incredible little business, and when I came back from Switzerland and doing some travelling, and I spent 3 years just hitching around Europe, and you know, I spent one summer where I just walked.
So what year was it you were moving around Europe?
In the 70s, early 70s.
Yeah. So it's before we actually joined the European Union.
Oh yeah. And anyway, I ended up. I said, my grandfather rang me up one day.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm dying. It's my greatest wish before I die that you join the family business, you know. And so I said to my father, I'm going to have to cut my head, and cut it for about 6 years. About there. And my parents said yes.
Yeah.
You know, my father and my uncle said, yeah, why not? So I cut my hair and joined the family business. And they said to me, you've got to learn the background of the trade. It's no good coming in. So you've got to do, and something I greatly respect, and you've got to know every job in a business if you're running a business. Yeah. That's everything, from cleaning toilet mess from the floor if somebody messes the toilet, to, you know, every single job. If you're making luggage, you've got to know how to make luggage. If you're making bags, you've got to know how to make bags. And they got me into the Cordwainers Technical College. We learned the old-fashioned arts and craft of, me and my cousin, we went there. My cousin was a couple of years younger than me, so I was like his mentor, his role model. You know.
Was that a good thing?
I don't know. He'll be out in another 15 years. So
I see.
No, it was brilliant. And while I was there, I fell in love with handbags, ladies' handbags. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a bit strange. I get interested in particular things. And I got interested in handbags not so much as a commodity to make money from, but the actual design of
designs.
And because I look at, if I look at a woman wearing a handbag, I don't see her walk around with a handbag. I see how that handbag complements her posture, how she wears it, and everything. And I took it to an extreme. And I then worked for my family business for about 3 or 4 years. And then I set off on my own as a freelance ladies' handbag consultant. Yeah. And I was at that time I was contacted by an organisation called the British Executive Service Overseas, which is a charity. And because I was very lucky with my handbags, people were into what I was doing. My bag work and luggage work and things. I was able to spend 3 or 4 months a year doing voluntary work, and over the years I did 9 assignments with BISO. I think I started off with 3 months in Trinidad, 3 months in Turkey. I then went to, trying to think, 3 months in Mauritius. I've done Zimbabwe, I've done Mongolia, I've done India. 3 or 4 times.
What did travelling around all these different countries teach you about business, about
it taught me an
exchange,
awful lot.
And about knowledge, and about communities as well?
It taught me not so much about business, but also about approach of life and appreciation of life. Yeah. And an understanding of cultures, and a love of people. Yes. I love people. You know, I like I'm a community sort of guy, and you know, although most of my assignments, when I would be assignments, they were handbag based or leather based. I found that my abilities to be able to interpret the desires of the people I was trying to assist led me into all sorts of other areas as well. You know, in you know, in Mongolia, we were actually out hunting dinosaur eggs.
Yeah.
One time, which was quite amusing.
Yeah.
We've when I was in Mauritius,
Yeah.
you know, there was a rum. A lot of people are into sort of brewing rum.
Yes.
And illegally, and there was an illegal still I came across, and I had to advise them on how to make it all kosher.
Kosher, yeah.
And
Legal.
you know, I'm an approachable guy. I don't have. I've never been one direction.
You don't judge.
Or one dimensional
Yeah.
even. Mm-hmm. And so that's got me around. Anyway, I had a great lifestyle, and it was in the mid 1994. I was actually diagnosed with MS. That's what. That's when life opened up in a completely different.
It's interesting where you express
direction.
it opened life in a different way.
Yeah.
That's an interesting expression, because for most people's terms of reference, that would have been, oh my God. You know,
oh no!
Yeah, and it's just your approach to it is
well,
very
I tell
interesting.
you what, when they told me my diagnosis of MS, I was really happy, because at the time I was in a hospital. They put me into my own room, isolated me. I thought I was going to be dying of AIDS.
Oh gosh!
Because AIDS was a big thing at that time. Yes. And I'd travelled around, and I've had a very adventurous life, and. You know, when they told me I had MS, I thought, wow, thank God for that. So
your approach to it was completely different.
My approach was completely different, but what changed my life actually was when I got out of the hospital, because obviously my mobility was a bit restricted. And I got home, and I couldn't go up and down the stairs. My life was just stuck on the settee, more or less. Yeah. And because of my lifestyles and financial things, I didn't have any big savings. I've never worked for money. I've worked for
experience.
I've worked for the experience, you know, and for life. You know, I've had money in the past, and it's never been of any particular. It's doing things which are important, all of a sudden I had all these social services coming round, social workers, this one, that one, knocking at my door, and they were treating me like I was some sort of sufferer or victim. Yeah. And I can't handle that. And I hadn't done a BSO assignment for about 6 or 7 years, because I'd started a family by this time. And I wanted to spend as much time with my young children as possible. So when I did do my overseas assignments, I always made sure of my private work. I always made sure they were in term time, so I spent the holidays with them. And anyway, like I said, I had these people responsible for my welfare treating me like I was some sort of sufferer or victim. Yeah. So I contacted BSO, and there was a new chief executive. I hadn't had any contact with that organisation for about 6 or 7 years. Spoke to the man, and I said, look, you know, I told him about myself. I told him about what I can do and what I've done in the past. Yeah. Because I was the youngest ever BSO volunteered to do an assignment, and I did my first one, which was 3 months in Thailand in 1981, I think that was. And I said, look, find me somewhere where they don't know about MS, they don't know me, because I want to really restructure my life. I want to see what my capabilities are. Because I'm not going to be tested, my capabilities aren't being tested by how I qualify for this benefit or that benefit. I don't, you know, like, I've got a life. So, anyway, they didn't hear anything for a few weeks, and I've forgotten about the telephone conversation in the first place. And I think it was about 7 o'clock one morning, and I couldn't go upstairs. I was sleeping on the settee. Phone rang. Reached down, picked up the phone. Hello, Bellows here, and from BSO. He said, "How does Mongolia sound?" I said, "Effing perfect." And It was it was only a 6-week assignment in in Mongolia, in Addis Ababa. I was advising some business people who had taken over an ex-Soviet tannery and to add value to what they were, to the leather they were producing by, they had the finance to set up a little handbag manufacturing, leather goods manufacturing. They were looking at
which
gloves.
you were perfect for the job.
Yeah, no, they were also interested in bookbinding, and I knew nothing about bookbinding. And I actually contacted one of my old tutors at the Caldwell Technical College, which was still going at that time in Hackney, and took some private lessons and things, and that really got me motivated. Though I was going around with a stick and a bit of a limp, and I'm like getting very tardy, so it really got me motivated. And next thing you know, I was jetted off to first Hong Kong, spent a day or so, then to Beijing, and then over to Mongolia, to Addis Ababa, not Addis Ababa, that comes later, to Ulaanbaatar, and then had a fantastic time there. And while I was there, by chance, I went to this, they had a leather conference, had a big conference centre, and there was a leather conference on. I thought, hey, this could be interesting. And I went there, and as I walk in, who should be speaking? El Kahir. Now, El Kahir is an Egyptian guy who I hadn't seen for about 15 years. We last met in a bar in Hong Kong or whatever, and he's in the same sort of consultancy roles as what I've been in.
Yes.
And he told me he was running a project in Addis Ababa, and
in Ethiopia.
In Ethiopia, that is, yeah. And he really wanted my services. And I said, look, I work 6 weeks at a time, but I want a minimum of 3 months off in between. I was getting a lot of fatigue, and I found that with the MS, the more relaxed and things, I just glide along with life. But when barriers, as you said, get thrown at me, you tend to sort of like, well, they deal with me. So he agreed to that, which is amazing. So next thing you know, I've come back from Mongolia, and 3 months later I'm jetting off to Addis Ababa. And that was all brilliant, and except that my second night there I got involved in a terrorist incident and got blown up in it, and ended up in
I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh really, because it's quite serious, but it's like, serious. I'm just thinking about your life in the experiences that you've had, and you're just trying to do a job, and you just happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
I was getting bizarre things.
And evidently you survived, because you're sitting there talking to me now.
And it's always really bizarre. In effect, smoking saved my life. Because I'd given up smoking, and the people I was working with, we were in this bar, and it was Africa Finals night, and it was really busy, really smoky, and everybody's drinking beer. And the people I was with, the French, and the 2 French people who were running the garment side of this project, and myself, I was looking after the leather articles for this project. It was with the Ethiopian Department of Trade and Industry. And the Egyptian guy had conversations in French, leaning over there, all smoking that man, drinking. I'd given up smoking, and they kept offering me cigarettes. After about an hour, I thought, I'll have a cigarette. I never got to light it. So I leant forward, a bomb went off, which somebody had brought in. They brought in a landmine in a birthday cake, and left it with the reception, with the till cashier. And the cashier was just 5 meters away from me, just the other side of this big pillar. And if it wasn't for the fact that when I leant forward to light that cigarette, the killer pillar, the caterpillar, the pillar actually saved me, because it deflected the blast. But 4 people were killed in that, and the people who were killed were the people around me. I had a bit of damage to my back, and lucky enough, the British Embassy in Addis Ababa is the only embassy anywhere, British Embassy anywhere in the world, which has its own clinic.
So there's a hospital in the embassy.
And I managed to get the Egyptian guy in there as well. And he was so grateful, and the Egyptian ambassador was so grateful when we left the clinic in the British Embassy, he sent his big limousine out to pick us up, and the Egyptian ambassador took me and Al Kahir to his house and gave us the most amazing banquet imaginable. Yeah. But things like that I find a little bit disturbing in a way, because I'm a great believer in the distribution of wealth.
Yeah.
And when a country like Ethiopia, which is very poor, there's people living on the street, and then round the corner you go to a huge house,
great wealth and opulence.
I never feel that
Doesn't
comfortable.
feel comfortable.
Which is why I was happy to work in those areas to try and level out those.
So other than the consultancy, you are a serial entrepreneur. So when you were back in the UK then, in the mid-90s, what did you do to raise money?
The internet was just breaking.
Ah, yes.
Now I could see so much potential there. And I had a friend, my friend John Weston, he was really into computers and such like. And I was a bit more airy-fairy. We friends got together and we sat down at my kitchen table. I've always had a fantasy of having my own range of fashion accessories.
Ah, yes.
Right? But not conventional fashion accessories. I've always had a bit of a I don't know whether you want to say ethical or whatever the right word is. I was really concerned. I would go to places and there'd be tanning leather and all the waste, because there's a lot of chemicals in tanning. They were shoving down the drain into rivers, reservoirs, paddy fields or whatever. But one time I was in the Bosphorus, and the company I was working for put me up in this beautiful hotel overlooking the Bosphorus. And I was waking up in the morning, getting up, and it was quite near where the leather sector is on the Bosphorus. I looked out, and there was this bright blue, the same blue as the blue I'm wearing here, section of water at the Bosphorus, because they were tanning blue leather that day. And I'm like, that concerns me, that sort of thing. So anyway, I set up a brand name called Global Leather, or Global Leather, and any product having a Global Leather brand name, first of all, the leather had to be tanned in tanneries with proper working effluent systems, and secondly, the people manufacturing the goods for me, they had to have working contracts with their employers, which included a certain amount of welfare. They had to have the people actually manufacturing the goods, they had to have separate eating to working
facilities,
running water, toilets, hand washing, and
so you were pushing the suppliers to actually have ethical and have corporate social responsibility a long time before other companies started doing it.
And the internet was just breaking when I got back, and me and my friend John, we sat down one night with at the kitchen table with a couple of bottles of wine and a packet of fags or whatever.
As you do.
As one does. And I'd come back from Hong Kong a few days before, and I brought this digital camera. Unheard of,
That's pretty.
And I had lots of samples of different leather goods which I'd made. Because I've had, like I said, I've had this thing in the back of my mind for ages. And over the last few years, with manufacturers who I knew I could work with and trust, I'd got a range of products together. So we sat down at the kitchen table, photographed them all, put them up, cut them out, and put together what is now known as a website. And in the morning, we had a website.
Working website,
I had a website, and the only problem was taking money. And at the time, I went to the bank. It was a Midland bank, and I explained to them, "Listen, I'm going to be trading online. I need facilities to be able to take card payments." They could not get it through to their thick heads that you could use a computer to sell things. And in the end, I had to tie up a deal with an American outfit, which meant initially, until I negotiated right, I could only trade in dollars. There was no world PayPal or anything like that.
Yes, I remember those days well.
Yeah, and anyway, after a few months, I did over 50 grand worth of turnover, And of course the bank wanted part of the action because they could see the money eventually getting up there. They allowed it all, but I had to give them a £2,500 deposit against fraud. That's how backwards we were.
Yeah.
You know, and it's no wonder, you know, and it's still the same now in banking. And I stayed faithful to that bank.
Yeah.
They then became HSBC, and I built my business up. And I started initially doing leather goods. Then I got involved with pet accessories. Long story. Then I got involved with mobility accessories because I became a part-time wheelchair user. And then a full-time wheelchair user, and I got this wheelchair. And the first time I used it was at this event called the Mobility Roadshow. And I went around this event, and my hands were getting really sore and blistered. And I thought, I've got to buy some gloves or something. Went around the show, no gloves. And I was watching what other people were using. I saw people with weightlifting gloves. I took that one guy, and he had gardening gloves. I saw a girl going around with a pair of marigolds on. You know, what was going on? So that night I did some research when I got home, and I wanted some gloves for me. And in the end I had to pay $100 plus $20 carriage for this outfit in America. Waited 2 months. By the time they arrived, my hands had hardened up. I got them, put them on. They were all right, but they weren't very good. My house is my wife's Italian, and on Friday nights, not so much now, but when I was young, when the kids were growing up, it used to be like the doors were open,
the family,
there was all sorts of bread,
neighbours,
food, wine, and I announced that I got new gloves. Hey, look at this! You know, aren't I the lucky one? You know. And my son said, "Hey, Dad, they're the same as my cycle gloves, BMX gloves or whatever." And he got his gloves out. I got my gloves out. Next thing I had a scalpel out, and his were cut to pieces, mine were cut to pieces. And I thought, bloody hell, they're made in the same factory. They've just been pattern graded down to different size. He paid $4.95 for his in Alfred's. I paid $100, waited 2 months, and like, you know, they're no bloody good anyway. So I then decided I'm going to do something about this. The next morning was a Saturday. I went down to town with my wheelchair. It's only a 10-minute wheel. It's quite good fun. You go down the hills and right in the corner of town was a big crossroads. And I waited there all day. And everyone who was in a wheelchair, who was winning themselves, I said, "Hey, do you want to earn a few quid and help me?" And I think I got 3 people that day. But over the next week, I contacted all sorts of communities. And I got 13, or 14 including me, people together. And I went out and bought 2 sewing machines because I was still able to sew them. Both of my arms worked at that stage. 2 really good sewing machines, one was right, ideal for what I needed. I had a Whittle warehouse anyway at the time. And we over 8 months we did nothing but test gloves. I was in nearly every night. I felt like the 7 dwarves all in one. You know, cutting up gloves, adding this and that, and eventually after 8 it was brilliant. And I've always been a bit of a gambler. I had 1,000 pairs of these gloves made. 6 different sizes. And I had them made in a place called Sialkot in Pakistan. Now, I'd been really lucky, I'd worked all over the world. In Sialkot, they're particularly good glove makers. And there was a company that I'd worked with over there who I was confident they would respect my, to have the Blow Leather brand on these gloves, they would be compliant to all my little peculiarities. And so the next thing, I have 1,000 pairs of these gloves made up. And the same show where I went to the year before, I took a trade stand. I took a huge trade stand because I knew that with people with wheelchairs, we take up a lot of room. It's not like one person standing there looking at things. You need room to move. I think I spent at the time, it was about £1.5 for the space. I took a big area.
Exhibition space always expensive.
And I got it right by the entrance.
Oh, brilliant.
Right. And I set it up. My daughter came down and helped me.
Yeah.
I had it all racked up. Anyway, I put 1,000 pairs of gloves on and I did something completely different.
Yeah.
As the people walked in, there's a lot of wheelchair users. As they walked in, I gave everybody who's in a wheelchair a pair of gloves.
Uh-huh.
Checked their size, gave them a pair of gloves. I said, okay, wheel around with these, see what
Yeah.
you reckon. If you like them, come back, pay me for them.
Yeah.
If you don't, just chuck them on the floor.
Yeah.
That show opened at 10 in the morning.
Uh-huh.
By 10:45, I'd sold out. £18.75 a pair. 18. Well, I didn't sell them all. I kept a few back, luckily.
Yeah.
But over 18 grand
Yeah.
in cash in less than an hour,
Hour.
and it's legal.
Yeah.
I thought, hey, you know, I'm onto something here.
Yeah.
Then the show, that was on the first day of a 3-day show.
Yeah.
So when I got home that night, I had to blag every ream of paper I could find.
Yeah.
Every bit, every Monday for spare printers.
Uh-huh.
They probably thought I was
Yeah.
totally loony.
Yeah.
And printed out loads of leaflets, printed out an A4, folded them in half, cut them in half. So at least I could hand out some leaflets.
Yeah.
And I hadn't even got the gloves on the website at this stage. Because it was also rush.
Uh-huh.
And within a year, I was selling them all over the world.
Yeah.
They became the standard leader for wheelchair gloves.
Brilliant. So that grew that business. So are you still running that business now?
No, I sold that in
You sold that?
2011.
Uh-huh.
And the gloves weren't actually my best seller.
Uh-huh.
My best seller was I designed a little wallet for myself
Uh-huh.
to keep my, well at the time it was an orange badge
Yes.
and timer,
Uh-huh.
because you have to carry both.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And so I designed a little wallet where you put the badge in one side, time the other side, and just stick it on your windscreen.
No,
I did it like that because I used to change vehicles quite a lot, so I could just always carry it with me.
Yeah. I know that you have been entrepreneurial in other ways, and I know that you're interested in art. And you said you started a gallery at one
Yes,
stage.
I had an art gallery in a place called Crouch End in North London.
Uh-huh.
Set it up and opened it in 1982.
Is that because of your interest in art, or was it just been sort of a way of making money from it?
Well, I'd just come back from doing 3 months in Trinidad.
Yeah.
Then immediately followed by 3 months in Thailand, and
Yeah.
I had 2 weeks off in
Yeah.
between. I spent that in Paris.
You don't seem to leave much gap between one thing and another.
No,
You just
I'm
move
not.
on and you're straight on to it.
I guess I'm a bit of an abstract sort of
Bringing you
person.
up to
I like
this,
to pack
bringing you up
pieces.
to today. I know that over the last few years you've been doing lots of voluntary work and things.
Yes. I was very fortunate that my business kicked off and I was able to do other things.
Yeah.
And I've never liked to do. I'm not satisfied just doing.
Just
nothing.
sitting there and just doing nothing. Yeah.
And disability issues, obviously, became important.
Yeah.
And I've got involved with a local, helped set it up, a local access group in Newport.
Uh-huh.
I didn't help set it up, I was involved when it was being set up.
Yeah.
And then one thing led to another. I became a director of Disability Wales.
Yes.
And that was in the year 2000. I became a director of DW. Then in 2003, I was contracted to establish and run a disability advisory group for the Wales Millennium Centre when it was being built, which was a hell of a challenge. But it wasn't me; it was my business, because my business my business has never been doing one thing.
Yeah.
Because you know what it's like. The phone rings.
Yeah. Something comes up. Oh, yeah. There's an opportunity. Yes.
And I don't look at them. They're challenges. I look at them as challenges. And
what do you think? You described a lot of different things, and circumstances today are much different from what they were like back in the 80s when you were fit and healthy and everything else. But you're healthy now, but other than the condition, what is it about you, or what do you think it is that overlooks your circumstances and just sees the project, sees the opportunity to move forward? Is it attitude, or?
I think it's got a lot to do with the way I am.
Yeah.
I don't consider myself normal.
Yeah.
I don't want to be normal.
Uh-huh.
What is normal?
Yeah.
Or maybe I am normal because this is how I am.
Yeah.
It's the easiest thing in the world to do the same as what everybody else is doing.
Yes.
And that bores me.
Uh-huh.
Twice I've been an employee.
Uh-huh.
Twice I've got fired.
Yeah.
I'm no good at it.
Uh-huh.
I do things which I feel are necessary to be done.
Yes.
and I'm not really a very selfish person. I like to involve others.
Yeah.
When I have people working with me, okay, there might be people I'm employing, but I don't look at it that way. They're people I'm with.
Yeah, and the people you employ.
And the most frustrating thing, and it happens around me all the time, you have an employee, all they're interested in is their effing wages.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Right? How can you be like that? How can anybody not want to be involved with what they're doing?
Yes.
What sort of, you know...
So the employees that you have now...
The employees I have now are cool.
Are all, yeah, but they're all, they have some form of...
Well, most of them are disabled people.
Yes.
Because there's the opportunities for disabled people in employment. Sometimes it's good if you've been fortunate, you can get a degree and go that direction. But otherwise,
and I understand
the old days, we might have changed in terms of reference and things, but the old days of, oh, you're disabled, you work in the post room.
Yeah.
You know. Why work in the post room? If you want, what about the managing director? What about if you want to become the managing director of that organisation? But you can't if you can't have access to the whole facilities. Access is a big issue.
And I understand that you actually work with, because of your own entrepreneurial approach to things and your serial entrepreneurship over the years, you're now working with people with disabilities in other countries. Helping them to develop their own entrepreneurship.
Yes, but that is, well, I run an organisation, well in 2003 I set up an organisation called, initially it was called the Global Disaster Relief and Sustainability Fund. It was after the big tsunami in Southeast Asia. I'd just finished my contract in 2004 when the Welsh Millennium Centre opened. I was a bit flush. That Christmas, the big tsunami disaster happened. Like most people who were responsible, there was some big major charities involved. I thought, great, these people need help over there. I went down to my local bank, which was actually the HSBC at the time, who had a collection box for this particular charity, and I actually put a £50 note in there. And you know, and over the next few weeks, I'll probably put a bit more in as well. And then I woke up one morning, I had the TV on, so I was really interested in this whole story about this disaster. I saw this, they built this school, this emergency school. I thought, wow, great. And I took a closer look at it. I thought, blimey, that is a sin. If you've got a mobility difficulty, you can't get near that school, let alone in it.
It was up on a platform, is it, or something?
Oh yeah, the whole thing was ridiculous. And so I contacted that charity, but I tried to contact that charity. It took me 2 days to get past the switchboard. Right? Then when I eventually talked to somebody, I said, look, you know, access is an interest of mine. I'm actually a qualified access auditor, disability access auditor. I said that I don't want money, but when I want to train your guys who go out to do these things to look beyond the end of their nose to see and they weren't interested, right? So with a friend of mine, when I was contacted by this guy called Vaughan, who was involved with, he still is involved with Disability Cornwall, who had pretty similar experiences in life to me and views. And we sat down, kitchen table again, a couple of bottles of wine, and we came up with the name Responsible Assistance.
So that's
still running. And we help in the whole idea of Responsible Assistance is to assist disabled people in when there's a big disaster. So over the years we've done some amazing stuff.
So are you going on to do other entrepreneurial things now? And
yes, we've got a project in Kenya. I've called it Fursa. Fursa means freedom in Swahili. And we're actually going to be financing initially. This is in a part of Kenya, it's very rural. Welfare, you know, it simply doesn't exist. There's a cultural thing where if you're a father and you have a disabled child, you bugger off, you leave. and there's a lot of single mothers out there trying to bring up children. It's a very remote area, and we've been doing our initial excursion over there was in 2013, and we've been developing relationships with local disabled people's organisations, and we're now funding 3 enterprises of disabled people to set up their own enterprises.
I see, yes.
And using some of my experience, some of their experience. Obviously what I've done is totally irrelevant to what's happened in the backstreet.
Yeah, but you understand the whole circumstance. And I think it, you know, in just summing up now, where do you see, you know, is it going to be, oh, that sounds interesting, and you're off in another direction?
No.
Or is your focus going to be on this sort of thing? Do you feel it's a sort of way of giving back because of the successes you've had in the past?
Yeah, and also for the last, I've had my office in Newport for 21, 22 years. It's the longest time I've ever done anything in my life. Yeah. Right? I don't have any choice. Yeah. Because there's not many places accessible to work from. I'm happy there. To me, every day I wake up, every day's a holiday. Yeah. I just can't wait. My life, right? I wake up in bed, I can't even get out of bed. I have to wait till my carers come around. I get hoisted out of bed, hoisted in the wheelchair or in the shower chair and dressed and everything else. And that same thing happens at night when I get hoisted back into bed. But when I get up, it's like, wow, you know, I'm really excited. Yeah. Do you know what? When I get lowered into my wheelchair, it's an amazing experience. It still feels brilliant now. For that little boy in a little toy for the first time, I'm getting out there, getting out and about. Every day's different. I love to get into my office, see what's going on. Communication is mainly electronic now. Check on my emails.
Well, it's an enabler. It's an enabler.
Yes, it's brilliant.
Trevor, it's been absolutely delightful listening to your story. I'm sure there's far more there than we've squeezed out in the last hour. Or half an hour, I think it is, but it seems like an hour. Sorry, I don't mean that in a negative way. It's just wonderful. There's so much content there. I really appreciate you coming in to talk to us here.
Well, I'm really grateful for having had the opportunity.
No, it's fantastic. And one thing I would like to ask is, you know, what would you advise anybody starting in business today about who feels that there's a barrier, or perhaps people who would like to and not thinking about doing it? What one bit of advice would you give them?
Right, I think I can't put it into one word. You know, you can say just do it, you know, get on with it. But no, you've got to view life. You've got to look at what your capabilities are. You've got to look at what support you've got to be able to do that. And you've got to look at what, if you need expertise, if you need support. This is why I like Big Ideas Wales, for example. And if you do need that support, there is support out there to help steer you in the right direction. So,
Trevor, thank you very much indeed.
It's an absolute
pleasure as well. Well, that's an amazing story. We'll be back shortly in a week or so to bring out another episode of SWBC. Don't forget to subscribe to make sure you and click on the bell to make sure you get notified of it. And I look forward to seeing you, or I look forward to you seeing me and whoever I have as a guest at our next interview. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you, Trevor.